Hello, friends out there in YouTube land. Hello, friends out there in YouTube land. Robert Ham here with roberthamphotography.com. You can catch me on Facebook and YouTube at /Robert Ham Photography. You can find me over on Twitter and Instagram at RobHamPhoto. And that's important because other than today's great episode, check out my flash. We're talking about the Yongnuo YN560. Let me hit you up with a little bit of news. I've got a drawing going on right now. You can win my camera. It's a giveaway. It's an Olympus 35 RC, much like this model right here. And in order to enter, all you have to do is head on over to my channel, YouTube channel, and subscribe. You're watching the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you'll be entered to win. You can find all the details about this in the video titled Win My Camera. It's over there on YouTube. More entries, more locations that you follow or tweet or whatever with me, then the more entries that you get. But let's get actually down to it. Today we're talking about flash. And in a world where a nice professional flash can fetch a couple of $100 to a few $100, even $1,000 in some instances, these third-party Cactus, Orbits, these Photex diode flashes, they're coming up and they're becoming very popular. There's a brand that's been making flash around for a long time, kind of copying Canon, what some people think, but has now gone ahead and broken off into their own their own type of flash, and that is Yongnuo. So today we're actually talking about the Yongnuo 500 Series 4. It's actually the 560 Series 4. And the reason that I bring this flash out is that I've got a lot of these. I have 8 of them. And I've been using Yongnuo since the Series 2, and a lot of updates have happened to this flash. When you talk about a flash right here, we're talking about a manual solution for your camera that is around $65. Let's kind of put that into perspective. You can get 10 of these for 650 bucks, right? Well, think about your Nikon SB910 or something like that, which could be $600 right on its own. Some people will immediately say, other pros sometimes when they want to get defensive about gear, and I talk with them, they'll say that their flash is so professionally made, so great, and yeah, I would agree with that. There are some things with the Canon's Pro Series flashes and Nikon's Pro Series flashes that definitely justify that price. But when you think about quantity of how many you can have versus quality, I think this is a risk-reward kind of benefit where I err on this side. I've had 2 flash over 5 years fail on me, and they both were backed up by a warranty that I got with them, so I had them replaced as well. With a warranty from B&H, and I've talked about this before, you can get this flash right now with a warranty, a 2-year drops and spills or a 3-year drops and spills, starting around an additional $12. So $65 to $72. So for 10 flash, 10 YN560 Series 4, you could have for $720 with warranty and free shipping from B&H or Adorama or whomever else. And that's really exciting because why would you want 10 flash? I'll tell you why, because you can connect them all together. The YN560 Series 4 have wireless radio triggers built right into them. They have 6 groups. Each group can control, I think, 6 individual flash on that group. 6 times 6 is 36. I have never tested that. I've connected as many as 8 flash in up to 6 different groups, but usually in 3 or 4 different groups, and they work well. This also gives me the ability to wirelessly control each flash from the main flash. Now, the cool part about this camera, or this flash system, is that there is a transmitter unit that goes along with it. Okay, and the transmitter unit right here just gives you a bigger display that allows you to look at more flash at one time. It can show 3 groups of flash instead of on the actual flash unit having to control each group of flash by scrolling up or down. Here you can just see more information on the display. And the nice part about it is that it works without fail. Okay, I've been using this system for the YN560 Series 4 for at least 2 years now. Before that, I used the Series 3. The Series 3 had wireless triggers built into them as well, and they just did not have a master setting, so you had to use this transmitter to control all your Series 3 flash. Now with the Series 4, they've taken the requirement of this master away. So if you want to have one flash on top of your camera, you want to have some fill, some rim, and some backlighting, you can control all of that from a flash unit right here that's literally on top of your camera. Now I'm going to come forward and kind of talk about some things with the flash as well. We'll go ahead and power it up. There is no high-speed sync on this flash, and some people will say, oh, we've got to shoot with high-speed sync and everything. I'm here to tell you, High-speed sync, here's what it's happening. It's technology that Olympus pioneered back in the 70s with their Super FP flash pulse system. And what it does is it lowers the output of the strobe so that the flash can properly illuminate and fire multiple times while your camera shutter is opening, but at a lower frequency or a lower power so that it can pulse continuously, sometimes 10 or 20 times in 1 second or less, or like 5 times over the course of 1/400th of a second or 1/100th of a second or whatever. And the reason that that's important is because flash is much faster than your shutter. Flash is very fast. Flash is measured in something like T times, like 1/10,000th of a second. Your shutter might max out at 1/8,000th of a second. And most shutter systems can't handle a flash manually. Well, focal plane shutter can't handle a flash generally around 1/125th. We see 1/180th. In the Fuji systems, and we see 1/250th in Canon and Nikon, and I thank those guys for that. That's really cool. 1/250th is a great way to sync flash, but you all know why we would want to use flash at a real high shutter speed is because we'd want to be able to have a wide open aperture and be able to shoot in broad daylight. But what happens is, unless you're using an ND filter, then you won't be able to do that because you have to close your aperture down, and then you can get your aperture closed down enough in bright daylight whereby your shutter speed could be long enough in order to warrant using a flash, and that kind of defeats the purpose. Well, the other reason that you would want to use flash in daylight is because fill flash in daylight is what takes amateur photos away and gives professional quality results, filling the flash of someone's face so you don't have those raccoon eyes or those huge shadows underneath the nose, the Rembrandt lighting and things like that. That's okay for portraiture. It's not okay outside at a wedding. You know, that looks terrible when one half of the person's face is exposed and the other half is totally dark because you didn't have enough flash. That's what we would use this flash for, or any flash for. That's one of the big purposes. Creativity is there. So here's what you can do. It's got a hertz frequency, right? So you can set this flash to operate at like 30 hertz at a pulse of 12 times. You can set it to work stereoscopically. So that's what is actually happening when you are using a high-speed sync flash. It's actually syncing up with your camera system, talking to it through its TTL metering, and then recognizing that you want to use high-speed sync. It's broad daylight, so then it adjusts the power of the flash. Instead of what you might need full power, it might adjust it to 1/4 power and pulse 1/4 power. It might pulse it 10 times in 1/500th of a second in order for the flash to be able to illuminate each area as your shutter is opening and closing. Well, some people might say that's great because high-speed sync, they do it all for you, and this is manual, so how would you ever know? Well, you would practice, right? So I shoot only manual flash, and I shoot manual on my cameras unless it's just extremely helpful aperture priority. If I'm going to shoot anything like that, maybe shutter speed, but generally just manually. And what that allows me to do is I've shot enough with this flash now, and the flash system over years, I can look and understand my settings. It's called experience, and I hope that you grab some of that. It's a big bucket of it out there. It's all in front of the camera lens, and all you have to do is stand beside and start pressing the shutter button. The minute that you do, you'll find out that working with your flash manually, you'll be able to read light betters and exposure levels. You'll be more satisfied with your photography because you'll be able to get the kinds of effects that you see others doing. So it will immediately be able to transform your photography from entry-level novice to pro just by adding a flash. Now, that doesn't mean it'll happen overnight. You'll have to do a few thousand pops of the flash in order to begin to understand. But here's what will happen. You get a flash like this that doesn't require any electronic circuitry talking to your camera in order to be able to fire, and you get a flash that you've shot enough times so you understand what ISO 100 looks like with 1/4 power flash on this with a guide number of 58, then that means, once that stuff makes sense to you, that means that when you decide to put it on a camera like this, the Olympus 35RD or the Olympus 35RC, which you may say to me, Rob, that's completely silly. Why would anybody ever put this flash on that camera? And I would say to you, this has a leaf shutter, and it goes up to 1/500th of a second. So because of that, I can put that on this camera, set the hertz frequency in order to properly fire at whatever I want. Usually I use something like 30 hertz at 1/4 power for a period of 20 flashes, and I can take this wide open and I can use advanced flash lighting techniques on my film camera. And I don't have to worry about chimping it because there's no digital back here to look at. I just have shot enough to recognize for most of my settings out in the daylight, that's going to give me a good exposure with flash. Even if it looks crazy, it takes something that you would normally have to take quite a bit of time learning and going through, and would cost a lot of money with film, because I've had so much experience with this on my digital cameras and have learned to use manual flash. Now I can use that experience over here on my film cameras. And that's what this is all about. Guys, we spent 10 minutes on the big screen today talking about a flash system, the Yongnuo YN560 Series 4 and the Yongnuo YN560 TX. Both of these are exceptional different little units that you can use. Both of them work very well. You can control all of your flash that you have that are the YN560 Series 4 and 560 Series 3 from this particular module, but you can also do the same from here. It's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed using it. I hope you've liked learning about this. And if you're looking to get into high-speed sync photography and you've got a digital camera that supports high-speed sync, but you just don't think it'll work with this, you can feel pretty confident in being able to buy this and set it manually and figure out what your settings should be just through a couple of test shots. Set it over there to the hertz setting and the stroboscopic setting, and next thing you know, boom, when you push the trigger on your camera and then this fires, wherever it is in the room or if it's on your camera, it will give that pulse just like your high-speed sync system will. And there you go. Instead of spending $600, 65 bucks, but it takes just a little bit of practice. And you were going to do that anyways, weren't you? Guys, I'm Robert Ham with roberthamphotography.com. Catch me over on Twitter and Instagram at robhamphoto. You can find me on both Facebook and YouTube at /RobertHamPhotography. Don't forget to win my camera. The drawing's taking place on November 26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live on YouTube. All the details are in my video on YouTube. So you smash the subscribe button, hit that like button, go follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and you could have up to 5 different entries into winning my camera. And I hope that gets you excited, because it does me. Guys, have fun, and as always, keep shooting, my friends. I do that after every one. You guys that watch know I always do something silly.